and welcome back to the Slept On podcast, the show where we celebrate and elevate artists. I'm Liv, and each episode we sit down with incredible emerging talent to talk inspiration, creativity, and everything in between. Today's guest is someone I'm so excited about. She's a bold, honest, and emotionally charged singer-songwriter from Halifax, whose new EP, God Help Me Now, delivers raw lyrics and gorgeous melodies. Hello, Ellur.
Hello. Is my face like all blurry? Yours has gone really blurry. I don't know why, but anyway.
Oh, has it? Oh,
if it's all right on your end.
We'll fix it in post.
Okay.
So yeah, for those who are just discovering you, how would you describe your sound and how did this journey start for you?
I'd say my music's like indie pop, kind of like sort of Sam Fender vibes, and how did it start out? Well, I've always wanted to do music. I always find this question really hard because there wasn't really a definitive like point in my life. It's just like been since I was a kid. I knew I always wanted to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit of a different dream, you know. I wanted to be like Britney Spears or well, not really Britney Spears, more like Avril Lavigne. You know, rock star.
Yeah,
playing big arenas, and I obviously still want to do that. But
Avril Lavigne in the early 2000s, like mid 2000s, she was just the it girl.
She was the it girl. I actually listened to her first album the other day on the way back from a gig. And me and my tour manager for that show was just like absolutely like singing our hearts out. It was just like such a throwback. But yeah, so I kind of grew up like wanting to pursue music as a career. And then yeah, just pretty much as soon as I hit sort of 16, 17 and felt sort of confident enough, I started doing like pub gigs just to earn a bit of money. And then after that, I kind of got my confidence up a little bit and I started doing my own gigs. And I was always writing songs like during all this. Like I've been writing songs since I was like sort of, well, I always say I've been writing songs since I was 11 because I feel like you have to count those. It's like development.
100%.
Probably younger, to be fair. I've always like written songs and been curious about that sort of thing. And then yeah, I started just throwing a couple of my own in there, playing in the pub when no one was listening. And then, yeah, it's just kind of developed from there, and I've been loving it so far. It's been 5 or 6 years now since like I started releasing music. I think my first single was 2020, so 5 years, yeah.
Amazing.
You think about like all these artists that are winning like emerging artist of the year, and it'll be like Chapel Roan, and she's been at it like 10 years at least. Sabrina Carpenter, she's new apparently. It's like, no, she's been like on the music scene for like 10 years.
Yeah, I think I
crazy.
saw an interview with Charlie XCX where she was saying like, I've been around since like 2011, 2012.
Yep.
And for like a decade she was winning like emerging artist awards, like new on the scene, and she's there like, guys, I've been here this entire time.
Literally.
But yeah, like speaking of pub gigs, like I've got a few friends that still do that alongside doing bigger shows as well, like supporting like major artists, and they always say that sometimes pub gigs are actually way more challenging just because of the atmosphere. It's like yeah
I used to hate them. Like I probably should still be doing them because like income wise, like it's like better than like, you know, gigs as an artist sometimes, but it's just, you know, I suppose it just shatters your ego, and like you're not really supposed to have an ego, you know, you're supposed to try and shed it where possible, but you sat there playing to a room full of people playing songs that you don't even really like. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Oasis, but after playing like Champagne Supernova and Wonderwall for like 3 or 4 years to rooms full of people who have asked for that song and then talk over it, it's like, it kind of ruins it for you a little bit.
Yeah, I went to see my mate play in a pub the other week, and like midway through a song people are going up for requests. It's like, it's not a DJ.
Yeah.
What is this?
Literally.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you'd get people when you'd finish your set and you're packing up being like, oh, is that you done then? And they've actually just talked the whole way through like your set. and then they'll come over and be like, oh, you didn't play that one you played last time. It's like, oh, so you're actually listening. You're just talking obnoxiously loud right
Yeah.
next to me.
Yeah, I think pub singers don't get as much don't get the credit they deserve sometimes because it
Yeah,
looks like a tough gig.
yeah, but I mean, it is like character building. Like, it made me ready for a lot of the gigs that I've had to play as an artist, where I'm playing all my own songs, and no one cares. Like, that's totally different, because when you're just like playing, songs that aren't yours and you're not really bothered about, it's very different to you being there like pouring your soul into a
Yeah,
performance and people not really caring.
of course.
But I was ready for that when it came about, and it didn't hurt my feelings probably half as much as what it would have. So yeah.
Well, that's good then. That's a good point. And like speaking of pouring your heart out, one thing that really stands out is like how emotionally transparent your songwriting is. Do you find to be that a cathartic experience, or is it more about the storytelling?
I think my I think I've always just tried to write about things that I know. I think my music a lot earlier on, um, because I was younger, I was just kind of writing songs for the sake of writing songs and releasing songs because I wanted to be a pop star. And
Mm,
then when I realised, like, actually the writing, recording and creation side of it is the bit I enjoy the most, I just started writing a lot more from more of an honest place, I guess. I also started doing writing sessions with other people, which I think really helped me to find what I like to write about. Because 90% of the time, like, when you go in to do like writing sessions, the experience that I've had has been like, it's kind of like speed dating. Like, you get there, you've never met this person, you pour your heart and soul out to them. This is what's been happening for me this week, and then you write a song out of it, and usually it ends up being like really heartbreaking or really intense, like just really emotionally charged, because you're kind of the pressure cooker of like, I don't know you, we've got 6 hours to write a song, let's just write something good. I think you
mm,
kind of shed a little bit of a skin of like trying to protect yourself and protect your feelings. It's a really good way, I think, of getting those songs out. Like, for example, like God Help Me Now, I wrote with these two guys, Jack and Ben, who are incredibly talented songwriters. But I'd met Jack, we'd done a song together, and then I'd met Ben as well, but we'd never written together. And then we wrote God Help Me Now like one afternoon in Jack's garden. And because the thing of like, I don't really know these people very well, but we all love songwriting, let's
mm,
just write a song. I think that's kind of how it's come about. And then from that, I've learned a lot about how I can translate that into writing on my own as well.
mm.
So now I can be a lot more honest with myself, which I don't think I used to be. I think I used to like, I'd write a song about maybe myself and then make it sound like it was about a relationship, or I'd kind of hide behind a lot of like stories. Whereas now I'm just like straight to the point.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. And I
Yeah.
think like I love God Help Me Now, and I've seen
Thank
like
you.
loads of people love it. And I think like for me personally, it's because it's just so relatable, this feeling of like the world's, let's be real, like the world's a bit fucked right now.
Mhm.
There's everything's up in the air. It does sort of feel like the world is on fire, and it's just like, okay, well, like, I'm just gonna go and get drunk with my mates and just like pretend like I don't
Yeah.
know. That was what I got from it, and I suppose I just wanted to know more about the lyrically, like the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I turned up to that session and I was just like, I'm feeling really, really kind of. I I feel like the world's a bit fucked at the minute.
Mm.
Um, sorry, can I swear?
Oh yeah, I've been
Okay,
swearing the whole
I guess I just thought.
time. You're right.
I hate when I do that, because whenever you ask like, can I swear, and then like swear, it feels like that meme, the one where she's like,
Maybe five.
I do cuss a little.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my god.
like it's fine.
Can I swear? Fuck. Um, so yeah, I was just kind of turned up to this session. I was like, I'm fucking really down. Like, and I feel like also my life is like fine. So I
Mm,
feel weird. I feel this weird like battle between like everything that, like, if I'm just present moment, not looking at my phone, not speaking to people about like current events, my life, I'm okay and I'm doing okay. But I feel incredibly sad and despairing about all of the people in the world that are suffering, and the people I know that are suffering, whether that's to do with their mental health or trauma or experiences that they've had. You know, as soon as you pick up your phone or you speak to anyone nowadays, you end up having a conversation about something that's like incredibly awful that's happening. And I was just really battling with that, I suppose. And I've always kind of wanted to write a song that felt like all these feelings that I've always kind of had about the world, because the world's always been like a really scary place since I've been alive anyway. I don't think there's ever really been a time where things were simpler. Not since, like, you know, the Middle Ages or something. Because I don't know, just that the human race kind of tends to mess things up a little bit, I think. But yeah, so I was just kind of feeling like that, and I also felt like really, I don't know, I felt like underqualified to talk about it as well. You know, I felt like, why should I write a song about struggle when I'm you know, personally do. I mean, I'm not, you know, I'd struggle with my mental health and things like that. But, you know, on a whole, and then I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to write the song, see what happens. And it's all, I wanted to make sure as well when we were writing it that it was all about things that really were things that did really affect me. Because, you know, sometimes you get songs nowadays where you can kind of tell people have written it for the sake of writing like a political song or whatever.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And if it's not coming from an honest place, then I don't really think you should do it. So yeah, I was just made sure that what we were talking about is things that, you know, that I was actually feeling. And the song kind of just came out from me talking like that to two writers who were incredible at just extracting lyrics from verbatim things that I was saying. And that's kind of how the song came about, really. Just the lyrics we were having that conversation. Jack and Ben are just sat there like profusely writing down things that I've literally said, and then been like, okay, here's a verse, like we've got something. I mean, it didn't go exactly like that, but something like that.
Yeah. No, I think you're so right. I think it was so I think it was like so genuine of like, I want to confront everything that's happening in the world at the moment, but it's almost like I want to learn more, but I also like there's only so much you can do. Like I know that sounds quite reductive, but yeah, so that's why I loved that song. And I was reading the comments on the videos, and I think everyone can sort of relate to that, you know.
It's just like a lack of understanding, and like not, I suppose, being the age that I am and having the amount of experience that I have, which isn't a lot. I've experienced like really deep pain at points in my life, but I'm also like 24. So it was kind of like all the lyrics are just like, I don't know why I feel like this, but I think it might be to do with this, or it might be to do with this, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I suppose that's kind of the song in a nutshell. Yeah,
and I think it's also like that thing of like we don't live in a war zone, and we're so, you know, I'm so grateful that we don't. But at the same time, it's like, how do I then compare my own issues with something like that, as you say, when you pick up your phone and you read about things on the news. But yeah, fantastic song. I really love it. And I also really love Morning Song, which came out 2 months ago, right? Yeah, that really struck me. And I don't know, I suppose that also felt like a really personal moment for you. Would you mind sharing more about the songwriting?
Yeah, that song's like really hard for me to kind of talk about. It was kind of written, it was one of those songs, I wrote it on my own, and it was one of those songs, sometimes like when I'm writing a song, I'll sit down in the morning, I'll be like, today I'm going to write a song, and then I will open Logic, and I'll put a little drum beat down, and I'll play some guitar, and I'll just sing some gibberish into the mic until some lyrics fall out, and then I'll build a song that way. And quite a few of my songs that I have released have been that process. But then sometimes when I'm writing, it'll be me and my guitar late at night when everyone's in bed, and I'm like whispering into my phone, and it all just comes out at once. There isn't really any friction or tension or any difficulty with the lyrics, really. It's just like, I call them half an hour songs because for some reason they always just take half an hour. And Morning Song was one of those songs, and it was kind of just, a lot of the time with those songs I don't really know what it's about, and I kind of apply the meaning after. I think it was kind of from a place of me coping with, my parents got divorced when I was like 16, and I think the song, when I wrote it, was kind of about me addressing myself, my younger self, and me understanding now why that had to happen. But for a really long time when I was younger, I think when your parents split up, you don't really get why. I think you really battle for a really long time with like why it happened and things like that. And you also grieve like the loss of not your parents, but like them as a unit, I think, and like the family and things like that. So I called it Morning Song, and when I was trying to sort of promote it online, I said it was about grief because my therapist told me that the things that I was telling her about, you know, the pain I was feeling and blah, 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 it sounded like I was grieving, and I was experiencing grief, but not for someone that had actually passed away and was gone. And I wasn't battling, because when someone, I'm lucky enough to say I've not actually experienced grief on a really deep level. I've not lost people that are extremely close to me. I've lost like people, but I've never like had to experience it with a person, but I have had to experience it, like the concept and the kind of abstractness of your parents' relationship and your family and things like that. So yeah, I suppose it's just about grief really, and my experience of it. And I found it incredibly hard for a really long time to play. I played it to Joel, my producer, in the studio, to record it, and as I was playing it I was like, I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to record and release this because it's just too personal. Obviously I think we recorded it like 2 years ago, so it's very different now. I feel like I've got a lot more of a I can handle the emotions a lot more than I used to be able to. But yeah.
I think it's that like push and pull of the best things generally are coming from a genuine place, but then of course, like, you know, you don't want that to have to take a massive toll on your mental health. But yeah, I think that you can tell the song is deeply personal, and yeah, I suppose I was wondering, because obviously I've seen on TikTok that a lot of people have done covers of a lot of your music, and of course we've said your music's very personal. What is that like when you see you've been tagged in someone covering one of your like deeply personal songs?
I just love that because like I have always said, as soon as I release a song, or as soon as a song as soon as I release a song, it's not mine anymore. It's someone else's, because there's so much about the music that I love that feels incredibly personal to me. You know, there's like, it relates to certain experiences that I've had, you know, and I think like it's that thing of like people apply their own meanings to things. I mean, like, for example, I always laugh at this, but when I released Your Dog, it's about like my ex-boyfriend who was just a dick, basically. And someone messaged me who'd found it on TikTok and was like, oh, I love this song, it makes me want to fall in love. And I was like, okay, babe.
Yeah, like
maybe like you should speak to someone about that, because that's crazy. No, I'm kidding. But like, that's what I mean. Like, people will listen to my music and music in general and completely take it in a totally different way, and that's what I love about. And I feel really kind of honoured that like people, even just if one person did a cover of a song, like I cover songs when I really like them, When I hear
Yeah.
a song that I really like, I'm like, I need to sing that because I love it. So to hear people singing it and, singing it, they sing the melody a little bit differently, like they put their own spin on it. Like, I love that. I think like
Yeah.
music is meant to be like collaborative and it's meant to be communal and it's meant to bring people together. So
Yeah.
I love it. I
Oh
take
my
it
God.
as an insane compliment.
That is hilarious though that she took it as a romantic song.
I love that.
Imagine someone messaging you being like, I love morning song, like I'm such a morning person, like no, I love getting up early, like I so relate. And you're there like, great, great babe, love that for you.
Yay!
But going back, I want to just touch on what you said as well about like speaking to your younger self because I'm also 24. Most of my friends are like around their mid 20s. And I do feel like when you reach this point, you, I don't know about you, but like for the first time, you think about like, you see your young self as like a entirely different person
Yeah.
that you can almost like reach out and speak to. Does come across in Morning Song, and it's something that like I can relate to. I'm sure many people could. Um, and yeah, I suppose my question with that is like, it's like such a cliche question, but if you could give your younger self a piece of advice, like now that you're an adult,
Mm.
what would it be?
That's such a good question.
It's cliche as fuck, but
No, I love it. I love stuff like that. What would I say? I'd probably say stop worrying so much about what people think of you.
love.
And that's a very cliche answer.
It's true. It's so true.
I was just terrified. Like, not just insecure, but I had a genuine, like, irrational fear of not being liked. And I still do. But I really, really changed who I was, particularly when I was a teenager, to try fit in. So I was always a bit weird, like, and in primary school, like, I didn't get bullied, but people would, like, kind of pick on me because, I just had, like, weird interests, like music and, thinking I was going to be a pop star and, like, genuinely believing wholeheartedly, like, I am going to be a pop star. Like, that's it, so
Yeah.
that
But also
just comes with kids being like, what the hell?
Kids can just be horrible though. I don't think people talk about that enough. Like,
oh yeah. And then when I got to high school, I was like, right, I need to fit in because I'm sick of like being picked on. So I really changed a lot about who I was in order to do that, which I regret. I mean, I can't really regret it because I wouldn't be who I am today, but I do regret it a little bit. And, particularly like I'm still in my early 20s, but like 19, 20 into 21, I just really tried to please people and say things and do things in order to keep people happy, who 9 times out of 10, the things that I'm doing to people please I end up shooting myself in the foot, so
relatable.
I think just don't be so afraid of getting things wrong and don't be scared of people not liking you, because there's always going to be someone that doesn't like you. Like, it's inevitable. We can't all get on. That would be literally impossible. And also just to expect everyone to like you it's silly, really, because there's always going to be something about you that's a bit unlikable to someone, so you might as well just be yourself.
100%, 100%. I wish I could tell my younger self that as well. Like, that's so relatable. But going back to like your origins, so you came from Halifax. Are you still based in Halifax?
Yeah, I live with my mum.
Oh, nice. Love that.
Yeah, in Halifax. I love Halifax so much.
I'll
probably stay here like my whole life, to be honest. I love it.
So what is it about Halifax that...
It's so beautiful, like the scenery, and just you don't have to go far to kind of escape from reality, if you know what I mean. You can kind of just go on a walk, put your phone in your drawer and go on a walk, and that's it. Like, no one really bothers you. I don't really bump into many people. Yeah, it's just really scenic, and I find like nature and you know, well, yeah, nature, like really inspiring. Just because it's that thing, isn't it? Like when you're in a really shit place, everyone's like, just go for a walk, and you're like, that's not going to help, and then you do, and you're like, oh yeah, like but it does actually really help.
Oh, 100%. But London is the opposite, where you're like, I'm gonna go on a mental health walk, and then you leave the house, and you get approached by like three drug addicts. Someone tries to nick your phone.
Mm.
It's yeah, it doesn't. It's not like
Someone tries
Halifax.
to nick your phone
Oh
every
God,
time you go out.
it's like an epidemic. Seriously, people are on bikes around London, like
Mm.
trying to snatch your phone out your hand.
Yeah, I find big cities like really sad places. I love like the hustle and bustle, and I love like being around that many people all at once, because like it's so isolating in like a nice way, because you just look around and you're like, every single person on the tube right now has somewhere to be that's really important to them. They're in their own little universe, and that's amazing. But yeah, I also find just like, you know, being in a city, particularly London, like it's the capital, it's very, well, just the kind of society we live in becomes very obvious, like you said, about there's addiction and there's homelessness and there's a lot of capitalism just absolutely shoved down your throat, which is incredibly sad.
There's also no privacy. I saw a video the other day of this guy on the tube who was recording people's shoes and rating them out of 10. Like, and I was
Sorry?
like, just let people
Who
live.
do you
Just
think you
let
are?
people go to work. But yeah, like back to the original point, like there is something really romantic about like the countryside and somewhere that's a bit
Mm.
more tranquil. Would you say that Halifax? Would you say that Halifax had a big impact on your music?
Yeah, probably. I think I've always considered moving to London for the writing aspect of just being able to network and write with people that I love writing with, because I go down to London like every so often to write with people and friends that I've made. But yeah, I couldn't live constantly in that amount of just the busyness. Like I need the quiet, I need the peace, I need to go walk my dog down by the river and then write a song about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even though like there's not a lot of like pastoral imagery like in my songs, it all comes out like of, you know, just taking my headphones off and listening to the birds for 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, I'm okay, you know, not going to be anxious today. I'm just going to go and write something. So yeah, I suppose I've got a lot to thank for where I've grown up, to be honest, because I'm very lucky.
Lovely. And just to get a better sense of your musical influences, so if you were the musical child of two artists, so if X and X had a baby, it would be Ella.
Oh my God.
Any gender, like it doesn't have to be like scientifically accurate or anything.
Okay.
Just in terms of, just like in terms of the sound, like if you were to merge them.
Oh, this is such a hard question, because I reckon I'd be the like child of like a polyamorous like group.
I love the answer. Tell
Like
me more.
I just couldn't say two artists or bands, because it's so, particularly at the minute. I think my sound has changed quite a lot in the past like couple of years. I'd have to say the 1975.
Okay.
Grew up listening to them, and I always forget to say them. Like, you know, when people ask who your influences are, I always forget to say the 1975. I don't know why. I think because it's just so ingrained in me. But I've never really said them. I grew up listening to Coldplay, so I'd have to say Coldplay. And then more recently, it's been CMAT,
Love seeing
Charlie
that.
XCX, because I just love how blunt she is. Also Big Thief and Adrian Lenker. God, that's a lot of genes.
It's a very big group.
Yeah, it's like a polyamorous house, and we're not really sure who's who's what parent. They're all just
Yeah,
raising me.
that is a great answer. I've never had a polyamorous,
There you go.
unusual group, but yeah, love it. And huge congratulations on your tour.
Thank you.
I saw you in Texas last month. Tell
Hmm.
me about that. Do you have like a highlight moment? Any like funny stories when you were there?
Yes.
Okay.
Just the whole experience was like incredibly chaotic, and uh it kind of feels like a bit of a fever dream in my memory, because it was like 5 days of just gigging every day, barely sleeping, still kind of have jet lag from like the 10-hour jet. Like the first gig we did, we travelled down to Heathrow, like airport place where all the hotels are, the night before, and then got a 10-hour flight to Texas, got off the flight. It was like 5 o'clock, but in our heads it was like 10 o'clock at night. We'd all been up since like 7, obviously, because you have to get to the airport like really early. So we'd been up by the time we got to the venue for the gig that we were doing that night. We'd been awake like 22, 23 hours,
Oh my God.
and then had to do a gig like immediately, like off the plane, like got off the plane, went to accreditation to pick up our passes, and then went to the venue and
Oh my
like
God.
put some slap on my face, tuned my guitar up and got on stage, which was
Massive
mental.
coffee.
Yeah, I had 2 Red Bulls that night, and I don't even drink Red Bull anymore
Mm.
because I'm just scared of like it affecting my heart. But yeah, and then it really helped actually. So thanks to my uncle for that one. And then yeah, my whole family went. My grandparents, my mum, my dad, my
Oh, that's
uncles,
amazing.
to see me, which was so nice because it's kind of daunting. Like I've never played in a foreign country before. I've only ever played in the UK, is what I mean by that. And so to play abroad, not just anywhere, but in like the USA, which has been like a dream of mine for like a really long time, was just crazy. And then to have my whole family there, like all beaming up at me, when I'm incredibly jet lagged and tired and a bit delirious and high on Red Bull,
Oh,
was just amazing. And the
that's so
the
sweet.
whole week was kind of like that. Really, it felt like I didn't really have time to recover from the jet lag or from being tired, and we'd have another gig. Yeah, and I met some really cool artists as well. Obviously, because we were at South by Southwest, so it's a lot of like new and up and coming artists, and also just like people who I've admired for a really long time. Like I got to meet Jasmine Forty and her band, who are all incredible musicians and also just really lovely people. And I got to see them as well, which was really fun. Also met Julian Baker at that gig, which was intensely overwhelming for me and for her. I think I really freaked her out. Also met Anthony Schmerick, who I love. I went to see him in Leeds, headline Stylus, I think it was, the week before. And then like he was on after us at a gig, and he had to borrow all our gear because theirs had been left in the UK. It had not made it on the flight that they were
Oh
on.
God.
So yeah, got to meet him, and he's an absolute angel. Yeah, and it was just really fun, to be honest. And I did have the highlight was probably falling off a Lime scooter and busting my chin open and having to get
No.
6 stitches in the emergency room.
How did that happen?
Well, I was drunk on a Lime scooter. And
All
I
right.
fell
Well, I
off.
was going to say that. I was going to say that, and then I was like, oh, maybe she doesn't want me to mention like if she was drunk. But
Oh,
I'm glad
yeah.
you just came out with it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't drunk. I'd had like 2 drinks
Yeah.
and was feeling a bit silly and getting a bit cocky. And then I wasn't getting cocky. I was literally just like driving down the road and hit a bollard, basically.
Oh God.
Because the thing with like the Lime scooters is because they're so heavy. It's not like a normal scooter where like if I seen the bollard, I could have like kind of swerved out the way. Like they're
Yeah.
so heavy that like it's inevitable. If you're going
Yeah.
into something, you're going into it. You no matter how good your reaction time is,
Never been on one.
don't.
Never been.
It's not worth it. It's
So
really not worth it.
did you have to go on stage with
No,
like?
so this was like the last day.
Oh, that's good.
So the band were leaving the next day, and me and my partner Charlie, we were staying out for another week just to have a holiday. Because this summer's like going to be pretty busy. So I was like, let's just tag a little holiday on the end of this. This can be our like sun for the year. And yeah, so it was the last night. We just went out to see some music, and had a couple of drinks, and then instead of getting a taxi back, we decided to get on the electric scooters. Bad idea.
That's what you get for being environmentally conscious.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've also supported some incredible artists over the years. Can you share some details about that and who was your favourite?
Oh my god. I mean, it was a really long time ago now, but I loved supporting Holly Humberstone. She is an absolute angel. I'd love to support her again. I think she's incredible. I think she's got a brilliant voice, and also just one of the nicest people I've ever supported. So that was really fun. I was also like a massive, massive fan. Like I still am. But it was all still very new to me, like meeting people that I admire. It kind of hadn't really happened yet. I'd not really met that many people, whereas it happens quite a lot now. So I'm kind of not getting used to it, but like my knees aren't shaking as much when I go and meet them. But yeah, I was like there on my own, I think, or I was with a photographer, I think, and we just went into her dressing room, and I was like, I just want to say like thanks for having me. She was like, come in, and I was like, okay.
Little old me.
Yeah, and then I was like, I think she was kind of struggling for conversation because I was just not speaking because I was so starstruck. She started talking to me about like where she's from, and it being like the same place as where like pork pies were made, like originally. So that was amazing.
What is that, Wigan?
I'm not sure. Like I think it's like the Midlands. I can't remember. I just blacked out for the whole conversation because I was so excited to meet her. Also supported Blossoms recently. They're amazing. Yeah. Their wardrobe is incredible. Like obviously they're an incredible band, but like we were kind of having to walk past their like wardrobe section to like get out to go and watch them basically, and just the clothes. Incredible. Like actually incredible. Like I'm very, very jealous actually.
They strike me as quite
they're so
fabulous.
Stylish. They're so stylish, but in such a like cool and kind of understated way. Like they're not like, you know, it's not like full Bowie. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They're not like I'm a fashion icon. Not that Bowie was going around saying that, but like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like it's so subtle but like powerful. I love them. They're so great. They're hilarious as well. So yeah, that was really fun. Who else have I supported? There's so many cool people, and I can't think of
Didn't you support? Listen to me telling you who you've supported. But didn't you support Robbie Williams?
Oh yeah.
I was here waiting, like. How was that?
I mean, obviously I didn't get to meet him or anything. He had like a whole separate backstage area, as you would, like, you know. He's got like one of the biggest shows he's probably played. I don't know what his track record is, but you know, there's a lot of pressure there. You don't really want to be like constantly saying hello to people.
Oh, I would. I'd be like knocking around like,
hi, have you got everything you need?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. I got really drunk that night. That was just such a good night. I say that it sounds like I've got a bit of a problem. Like every story I've told has been me getting pissed.
Listen,
I never drink. This is the thing. I actually promise I don't drink because I get really bad hangovers.
Listen, if it was me, if I just like supported Robbie Williams, I'd be like, not only am I getting drunk, but I'm going to talk about it for the rest of the night. I'm going to be so annoying.
Literally. That was amazing. His show was incredible. Got to meet Kate Nash, and it was her birthday.
Amazing.
So I have these like branded Ellur balloons, and I gave her one for her birthday. I was like, happy birthday, here's a balloon. And it was like the most corporate looking balloon you've ever seen, like with my logo on.
That is amazing.
That was really fun. And we watched the football with Shaun Ryder as well, which was sick. Like backstage.
Amazing. I would be terrified if I met Shaun Ryder. I'd love to meet him, but I'd also...
Why?
I don't know. I think because like I just feel like he would take the piss out of me, like to be funny. And then like I'd be like, well, I can't do it back because you're Shaun Ryder, so I'm just gonna take it. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah.
There wasn't really opportunity for him to take the piss out of everyone, to be fair. We were all kind of transfixed on the England game. But
Mm,
he was really nice. He didn't really say much to me, but I was stood next to him, so that's my like
it counts.
claim to fame, I guess.
Sneaky like Instagram story.
Yeah, like me watching the football with Shaun Ryder, like.
With my bestie. And yeah, if you could choose to support any artist, who would it be?
Oh, anyone from the polyamorous parent circle, really. uh, well, I missed out like C Matt and Sam Fender. I'd love to support either of them.
Hmm.
1975, dream support slot would probably be Coldplay.
Yeah,
I just
that would
love
be.
them. I love them. Like, I understand that they get like a lot of hate from like the general public, and like I don't really get why. Like, they're just amazing. Chris Martin's like one of the best songwriters, like probably on the planet at the minute.
Yeah, but the
Um,
same people that take the piss, like as soon as they have one glass of wine and Viva La Vida comes on, like they're running to that dance
exactly.
floor. So I won't have that.
Literally, they'll be at the wedding blasting Yellow, singing their heart
Yeah,
out. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Crying to fix you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, probably Coldplay. Also like Chapel Roan,
Mm.
because I think she's incredible. But
Hmm.
she actually does this. I don't know if she still does it, but she only has like local drag queens supporting her.
Oh wow.
Or she did
Didn't
on
know
her
that.
recent tour, because I think we tried to pitch for it for me to like support, just in case, and the answer was like she only gets like local drag artists to support, because drag's obviously had like such a massive influence on her
Mm.
whole artist project, really. So she's kind of, it's good of her to like give back to the community, really, because
Yeah.
you know she's, as she should. Good for
Yeah.
her, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that actually. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. She's getting a lot of stick at the minute, which really annoys me.
Yeah.
She went
I
on what's it called? Call me
call her
maybe.
daddy.
Call her daddy. Call me
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, that would work for Chapel Roan. But no, I mean, not that anyone cares what I have to think about the situation, but I think that people are just overreacting.
People just hate women. Just say you
Yeah,
hate women. Like,
yeah.
as soon as a woman says anything that like could be construed as like a differing political opinion,
Mm.
or she does something fucking different with her hair, or like I saw this thing on TikTok today. This woman decided not to wear makeup for her wedding, and everyone's like, "She's a pick me." It's like, just stop
It's her
hating
wedding.
women. It's internalized misogyny. It really is. But all the stuff
Mm.
about saying, because she said something about like, "I'm a pop star. Stop turning to me for political answers."
Yeah.
It was like a soundbite from like the thing, and everyone was like, "Well, you've made your whole career off like, being vocal about politics." And like I even when I first listened to it, that's not what I took from it. I didn't take her being like, "Oh, I'm tired of people like asking me for my opinion."
Hmm.
She wasn't saying that. She was just saying you need to make like more informed decisions than like turning to your favorite pop star for like the answer on like who to vote for, or like
Yeah.
when you're voting, you need to be thinking about who you're voting for. That's how I read it, and then
Yeah.
like I saw all the criticism, and I was like, oh,
100%. But I think as well, it comes down to a woman having bold, unapologetic views in
yeah,
general is just a big no-no. Like, people love it when women are really diplomatic, and it's like,
mm,
well, some people may think. And one thing I love about Charlie XCX Chaperone is like they just have firm opinions, and they're
yeah.
just like, I
And
think
like
what I think.
people always like, I've seen this other thing as well. It was like Chapel. It was like a search thing, and it said like Chapel Roan insufferable, and it was all of these clips of her being like just blunt and like not really smiling, being a bit of a diva, being a bit sassy, which is like, by the way, her whole brand is being a diva. Like,
Yeah,
that
she's
is
never
literally,
pretended otherwise.
yeah, she just is who she is. But it's also very cleverly like part of her branding now, like as an artist, is she's a diva. She'll mouth off at a paparazzi, blah blah blah, and everyone's like, oh, she's so like unappealing, and it's like, do you understand what you're saying? Because we're all trying really hard to like break down what we expect of women You know,
Mm.
I'm doing it in little small ways. I'm trying to be less smiley and like, you know, appealing, and I'm trying to be less exclamation marks in the emails, less, you know, please, if you can try this, no worries, blah blah blah. Like
Mm.
just being a little bit more to the point, a little bit more
Mm.
like, you know, just asking for what I want. She's
Yeah.
like talking in interviews, and she's blunt, and she's not putting like a smile on, and everyone's like, oh, I just don't know what it is about her. I just find her really annoying. It's like, because
Yeah.
she's not faking who she is, and she's not the typical smiley faced, soft, like, you know, feminine. And I'm not saying that like femininity is completely interwoven with being like agreeable. In fact, let me retract that statement. She's not being agreeable, and that's why people don't like it, I think.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
100%. Yeah, I agree. And as well, something that really, actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, like as an artist. Something that really, like, just makes me feel gross about social media is how one week people love someone. So, for example, I remember the week before the Call Her Daddy episode, the whole of TikTok was like, oh my God, I love how Chapel Roan has no media training. It's so refreshing. Like, where's her PR person? Haha. And then literally within a week, full 180. Where's her PR person?
Mm,
Oh my gosh, she has no media training. Like,
yeah.
this is like, what are your thoughts on that? Because it's so frustrating to me.
I think it's really funny. Like, I try, when I see things like that, I get really angry, because I'm
Yeah,
like, why do you care?
yeah.
like, okay, like, you know, there's people out there who are really bad. There's people who have a platform, you know, particularly like people who have podcasts. I'm not naming any names, but like there's blokes who have podcasts who are
Hmm.
spreading really, really harmful information, and are saying things and doing things that are incredibly destructive and a little bit evil.
Yeah.
And that should be called out on social media. 100%. It's a powerful tool. If you can go on social media, it's been a powerful tool helping people accuse people of things that they've done. It's brought people to justice. But there's this really big thing of like, people are bullies. Like,
Hmm.
people are actual bullies. Like, you know, people will say really horrible things about someone because they're famous and they think they're not going to see it. They do see it. Like, of course
Hmm.
they do. Whether they care or not is a totally different story. But you know, right before Liam Payne died, everyone was fucking rinsing him on the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone. And influencers were as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not pointing fingers, but there was people who had really massive platforms taking the piss out of Liam Payne,
Hmm.
ripping into him,
Yeah.
doing a fucking like 3-part series on TikTok, like taking the piss out of this one bloke
Hmm.
just because he's like rich and famous, and they think that it's
Yeah.
okay to do that, and
Who
it's
was
not.
clearly struggling as
I
well.
mean, even if he wasn't, and he clearly was, but even if he wasn't struggling, even if he was
Mm.
like doing, it's happening with Justin Bieber at the minute. He's like
Yeah.
posting stuff, and yeah, okay, he should know better than to post what he's posted, but he's clearly like going through something, and the
Hmm.
whole world, it seems to me anyway, like they're talking about it, and they're taking the piss out of him, and probably making him feel worse. I don't know anything. I can't speak for him. I don't know him. But like,
But you can imagine,
yeah, I
yeah.
can imagine what that feels like, and it must be
Yeah.
horrible. And it's like on a different in a different way. It's the same thing about like, I'm seeing a lot of Lola Young getting a lot of shit.
Oh,
She's blown up. All of a sudden, everyone's like, Nepo baby, Nepo baby. She's
mm,
so annoying. Why does she talk like that? Oh, her
yeah.
true accent's come out like in this like tiny section where she said something and sounded like a tiny bit posh. And it's
Yeah.
like, she's cosplaying as working class, blah blah blah. Like, all of the things that you're saying, I know it comes from a place of anger, and like, I can empathise with people who sit in the comments of all these videos all day, because they've clearly got things going on,
Yeah.
you know. But it just infuriates me. It's like, just get a fucking life.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror. If you catch yourself commenting something nasty about someone on a video, even if it's not their video, or even if it's nothing to do with them, it's just a clip of them talking and like fucking Subway surfers next to it, like, you know, the
Mm.
ones that you see where it's like a clip from a podcast, and then there'll be
Yeah.
like Subway Surfers to retain your attention, and it'll have
Yeah.
like 2 million likes or something. But like, even if you think they're not going to see it, just don't, like, what are you doing? Like, take a look in the mirror and think, wow, I need to like get a hobby.
Yeah. As well, it's like if something, God forbid, were to happen to these people.
They're the first people to be like, oh, mental
Yeah.
health is so important.
Be
We all need
kind,
yeah.
always. Yeah.
It costs nothing to be kind.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
easy to be
infuriating.
kind, though. That's the thing. It's so much easier to be hateful.
Yeah.
That's what people forget. It takes a really strong, open-minded person to be like, actually, even though I don't like this person, I'm just going to leave them to it.
Yeah.
Be the bigger person. That's what I say. Sorry, you got me.
100%.
You got me
No,
there.
honestly, like I feel so strongly about it as well, and yeah, it's just so annoying. But I'd love to know as well if you have any advice for artists who are wanting to break into the industry but like are unsure where to begin.
Um, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about it. I think, my advice would be very cliche, but just keep doing it. Like, whatever you're doing, don't be scared to do it. Don't be worried about what people are going to think. Don't be worried about if it's a proper job. If you've got parents or friends who are like, oh, I don't know if like you should be doing this, it's not very financially sustainable. Just do it. Just do the thing that you want to do. I would recommend reading this book, which I've just got. It's called The Artist's Way, and it's all about finding your inner artist, basically, because it kind of theorizes that everyone is an artist. We're just conditioned to think otherwise, conditioned to think that we're not creative, because we have to be creative, like in everyday life. I'd recommend reading that. I'd recommend, if you're a musician and you are aware of your local music scene, go to gigs. Go to as many gigs as you can afford. Meet the bands. Tell them that you're a musician. Try and work with them. And the other thing I would say is, I hate that I'm saying this, upload your songs to TikTok, because you never know, and you can build, and on Instagram and on YouTube, but just start putting ideas up. They don't have to be finished, they don't have to be perfect. If you don't want to do it on social media, do it on SoundCloud. There's also a lot of like distribution companies like CD Baby and Ditto, and there's loads of others, but those are the two that I used to work with before I got signed to the label that I'm signed to. You can just contact them or go on their website and upload your songs, and then they can just be put on Spotify. I didn't realise that for ages. I didn't realise it was that kind of simple, really. But just do it. Just don't wait for something to be like perfect or finished to do it. Just don't be scared to try and fail. Yeah, I really threw everything into that answer.
No, it was good advice, because I think, yeah, I know I definitely can be a bit of a perfectionist, and like if something's not going right, it's like it's so difficult to persevere. So yeah, I think that's great advice.
Yeah, I think you can be your own worst enemy, like trying to make something perfect, because it's never, if that's the way you're looking at it, it's never going to be that. I listened to a podcast called Blind Boy Boat Club, and it changed my life. I say that about everything, but it genuinely did. Because he's like, it's very just an interesting podcast, just anywhere, because he talks about like, he basically, it's so hard to like explain what he does. He basically like takes things that we have in the everyday and like goes really far back to the history of it and links it to something else, and we'll find like these links between two things. Like he linked Drew Barrymore to like pumpkin spice lattes, and he was able to like trace back her lineage to like how she's connected to pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's just so crazy, like what he does. It's amazing. But he also is very, very open about his mental health, which I think is really important, because he's a bloke, and you know, it's just nice to hear blokes being open about their mental health, particularly with blokes with such a big following. He talks a lot about how, because he's a writer, he writes like short stories and stuff for TV, and also writes the podcast every week. But he basically talks about how it's really important as a creative person, particularly a writer, to fail and allow yourself to fail. And he actually encourages you to try and fail as much as you can, because when you get used to failing and realise that it's just as much part of the job as succeeding is, you're unstoppable then, because you can just you can just continue to be creative. It's like, you know, like when people say acting, the audition is 90% of the job. Actually getting the part is great, but like the audition, you learn so much about yourself and what they want from people, and you know, you learn so much when you fail. So don't be scared to fail is probably what I'd say as well.
I think that's amazing. And I'd love to hear what you're up to at the moment. Do you have any gigs coming up that we can go to? Like any music coming out soon? What's new?
So I have I've actually got 14 gigs this summer, which is pretty mental. I'm really excited about that. They're all like on my Instagram. I could not help. I just knocked that, sorry. I couldn't tell you what they all are. I'm really excited. The ones I'm most excited about, I'm supporting the Kaiser Chiefs at Temple Newsome. That's going to be awesome.
Amazing. Have you met them before?
No. I'm so excited for that gig. I'm also I've just announced I'm supporting Supergrass at the Peace Hall in Halifax, which is like my favourite venue. So that's going to be amazing. Also love Supergrass. And Sports Team are on the lineup as well. I'm really excited to see them. Also, I'm doing Truck Festival, Latitude, and Big Feastival, and there's loads. So yeah, that's kind of going on this summer, and I've just finished recording my first album. So that's going to be out it'll be out by this time next year. So.
And what can you tell us about that? Obviously, I'm going to try and get as much information.
I can tell you that it's really good.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm just really, really, really excited about it. It's like, it feels like me, in the form of 10 songs, that are all just as personal and, kind of emotional as the EP. But there's a lot more like of my other influences in there. You know, there's all the standard kind of influence of like Coldplay and Sam Fender and the 1975 and C-Mart, but I also really love Dora Jar, and she's had a massive impact on it. Also Lizzie McAlpine, and Brian Eno. I was listening to Brian Eno a lot whilst we were recording. I was actually reading there's these books called 33 and a Third, and it's like people can write, basically. I don't know if you've heard of it, but people can write a short book about, I think it's just about albums, but I'm not sure. So it was just a book that someone had written, like a sort of biography that someone had written about his album Another Green World. So I was listening to that a lot whilst reading it, like whilst we were recording. And then also like a little bit electronic as well.
Ooh.
Like there's kind of a mix of like indie and like my kind of the kind of classic indie sound, but then also like my influences of like kind of folk and also like electronic.
Oh my gosh, you're having your Dylan moment.
Yes,
She's going electronic, guys. Oh, I'm so excited for that. I can't wait. So by this time next year?
It'll be out by this time next year. All being well. I've just listened literally just before I did this podcast. I just listened to like the final mixes of it. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Amazing.
I think it's important to be like giddy about the work that you're doing.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Just very sort of brazen about thinking that it's really good. Because like I do think it's good. Like that's why I made it.
It would be a bit weird if you were just like,
oh, I hate it. Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know.
Whatever. Nah, I'm well excited about it.
Amazing, as you should be, and so am I. Can't wait. And then finally, at the end of each episode, I ask my guests for 2 artists that they think deserve more recognition. So who do you think are slept on?
God, there's so many. I'm gonna say number 1, Annie Dog. Annie Dog is an artist signed to my label, actually. She's from Dublin, and she's just so cool. The music she makes is incredible. So I love her, and I really want to work with her. We need to sort something out because I'd love to work with her. She's like got that. She loves like Smashing Pumpkins, but she's also kind of got this like electronic.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah, slightly like just slightly drum and bass, but it's not. I don't really know what to call it. Like glitch pop kind of vibes, which I love. So Annie Dog, and then also who else am I gonna say? Slept on. Lois. She's based in Leeds. And she has just started releasing new music, and people need to know who she is because she's just a born pop star. She's incredible. So,
Amazing. Yeah. Great. Well, I'll definitely have to. I know Annie Dog already. She's fab.
Sick.
I'll have to check out Lois. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been great speaking to you. You've been a great guest. Yeah, and upcoming tour dates. I'm gonna try. You're playing London, aren't you?
Yes.
In July, I believe. Not to put you on the spot. I'll be there. Okay. I'll be there when it. I won't put you on the spot. Yeah, I'll definitely come and see. But yeah, otherwise, have a fantastic summer. You've got loads on, and yeah, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Bye, Ella.